Welcome to Search for Signs. My name is Gary Willing. If this information interests you, please press the like and subscribe button and press the bell for notifications. Well, good day to you. It is 62420, and I hope you're having a wonderful morning wherever you are, or afternoon or evening. All right. Now, I do have some questions to cover in this video. I do have some comments to cover in this video, and as always, if you have a question about Maitreya and the Masters of Wisdom, okay, let me be clear about that. I'm not well versed in every single topic that somebody asks me about. So, but if you want to talk about Maitreya, the Masters of Wisdom, or his priorities, or what we talk about, or even miracle signs and so forth, you can always ask me. You're always invited to ask me a question, and you can do it by the best way to do it is just post your question as a comment in the most recent video, and I'll do my best to answer it in the next video. How about that? Deal? Okay. Or you can email me directly at searchforsigns@mail.com, and I'll do. Like I said, I always do my best. I'm not perfect. Sometimes I'll think I'm answering the question and I'm not from what the person's asking. So anyway, now I do want to say, if you're new to this channel, definitely check out the link for the Facebook page that I put up a couple weeks ago, where I started putting up various video links from different YouTube channels about the miracle signs that we talk about this channel. Now, for most of the videos, not all of them, but for most of the videos, they either don't know anything about this information or don't believe it at all. And so you can get a different perspective on what we talk about. My personal opinion is that every one of these miracles, because they're happening in all walks of life and all faiths, are all linked. And they're all pointing to the fact that the one awaited by all the major world's religions is here now, and his name's Maitreya. You might believe it, you might not. This information's for your consideration only. So I'm not trying to convince anybody of this. That's why I'm putting up these videos from different viewpoints, so you can kind of make up your own mind about whatever you want to make up your mind about these things. So, right. So, and then the next thing I want to talk about here, in this video and in the last video, I have as my background, I have Paramahansa Yogananda, who I was introduced to his book, An Autobiography of a Yogi, back when I was in high school by my late guitar teacher. And I don't know how the conversation started that day. I know we never picked up the guitar very much after I read this book, because I just kept asking him questions about this, and I started asking him questions about Alice Bailey and so forth. But this gentleman in his book compiled all these different experiences and stories from some of the masters in India and a lot of the yogis in India and so forth. And then he took that information and he traveled to the United States, and he started spreading that information around the United States. And if you want an interesting read, a very fascinating read, definitely pick up An Autobiography of a Yogi. I'm sure you can pick it up on Amazon. But the quote that he says in this meme here, it says, "Change yourself and you have done your part in changing the world." Couldn't agree more. But anyway, just wanted to share that. All right, let's get on into it. Now, I want to group a few of the comments and together, because I think they're all kind of related. All right, so the first question comes from my good friend Peter Miller, who's asked a lot of questions, and I always appreciate that. And I usually answer Peter's questions last, so hopefully he'll appreciate his questions being answered first this time. You're the winner, Peter. I'm just kidding. Was the universe created by 1, the Big Bang, 2, God, or 3, sprung from the primordial abyss? Well, Peter, I would say it's 4, all of the above. God is that primordial abyss which created consciousness all at one time as the Big Bang. Now, how do I put it? Maitreya is going to teach humanity about self-realization. But what is the self? He calls it the absolute reality. It's unchanging, unmoving, unaffected by consciousness at all. And a lot of great teachers, like even Sadhguru talks about this, which is another comment somebody talks about self-realization and so forth. And he's teaching people self-realization in his own way. You take a car in your driveway, right? There has to be a space that allows that car to be parked there, right? But where does that space end? Does it end at the end of your street? Does it end at the end of your town, the end of your state, the end of your country, on the other side of the planet? Or does it keep going on farther than we could possibly imagine? And then once you get to that space where you're like, that's it, there's got to be another space behind it, right? That's God. That's the absolute. It's unchanging. It's what Paul said in the Bible is the one who lives and moves and has his being. The one in whom we live and move and have our being is how he put it, right? Well, that's God. It's not a person sitting on a cloud, right? So the beef that I have with the Christian churches especially, but all the churches in some way do this, is they took that teacher like Jesus who was talking about oneness, talking about the absolute reality. The kingdom of heaven is at hand. It's as close to you as your own hand, right? And then perverted it, twisted it, moved it, and then made it to people to believe and led people to believe that you have to believe what they say in order to get to that God that's separate from you. That's the evil. There is no separate. We're not separate from God. Everything from a mosquito on up to a solar system and a galaxy is all a part of that same divinity, right? So, but and get back to your creating of the universe. As much as I can speak about it, as much as anybody can speak about it, really. But what Maitreya says is that the universe did expand out like the Big Bang Theory postulates. And that's what created what the consciousness and all of the manifested universe. But it doesn't affect the ultimate absolute, the unmanifested universe, which is there. And then it'll go out, and the plan is that eventually everything will be perfected on whatever level it is, and then it'll go right back into the way it was, and then it'll remain unmanifested for as long as it was manifested, and it'll breathe out again. They call it the divine breath. It goes out and in, out and in, out and in, out and in. And everything in life has a breath, really. Now, if you were to ask one of the masters, they might have a better answer for you, but from what I understand from Alice Bailey's teachings with the Master DK writing through it, the masters don't even know how many times that's happened. But it has happened more than once. So anyway, it will go out, and everything in life will be perfected, and it'll go right back in, and it'll go out and back in. That's what that is about. So hopefully that answers that question as best I can answer it. All right. All right, Zen, which is kind of what I was just talking about, self-realization. Sadhguru is someone that I feel is a high-level initiate, if not a master. He is talking of all the topics Maitreya speaks of as being fundamental to moving forward in the world in peace. He also talks of a life-changing experience as a young man in a mountain area of India where he went into an instant state of samadhi and has never been the same since. His philanthropic works since then are phenomenal. People ask me all the time about Sadhguru, and he's one that I'll actually comment about because I've listened to several of his videos on YouTube, and I find him very enlightening, very humorous, and also very enlightening. And in particular, he talked about parenting a child and how when the child's young, they just look at their parents like they're their whole world, and then they become an adolescent and they basically tell you to piss off, right? And he was talking about, and I'm in that stage right now where my daughter's like, yeah, screw you, right? And I love my daughter to death, but that's just kind of the phase in it. And he talks about how to handle that and how to look at them in yourself and understand what they're going through. And he really kind of helped me with that and be a little bit more patient with my daughter for sure. And then he's talked about looking at life with, without the illusion of separateness and so forth. And I've learned a lot from him, so you can learn a lot from Sadhguru for sure. I hate to assert my opinion. It's not my place. It's for us to all come up. We're all adults here. We can come up with this information and our own opinions on things. But since you kind of put it in there, I find his information very enlightening, Is he a master? Well, I'll leave you with this then. We don't understand, all of us don't understand the laws that govern these masters coming into the world. And even Maitreya leaving his ancient abode in the high part of the Himalayas and entering London on July 19th, 1977, and then the time it took from our perspective from when he entered London to when he came on TV, and now he's on TV but still not claiming to be Maitreya. We don't understand the laws that govern all that. And right now, Maitreya is the only master out in the world today. Okay, now you can, whatever we believe, somebody's a master, this or that, it doesn't really matter. But so it's, eventually you'll either be right or you're wrong. It's not a right or wrong, but saying we'll either be, we'll either be like, wow, I was right all along, or whew, I was wrong. But anyway, what was I going to say? But it doesn't mean that he's not teaching about self-realization in his own way, which I think he is. So anyway, hopefully that helps. Now, the next comment I want to talk about is from my good friend Tao Zen Chi. What does he put? I am neutral, transparent, impartial is with all together as one light, dark forces, and transparent, impartial are all one. Well, I would say, why be neutral? To be honest, I mean, we've given a wonderful opportunity as souls in incarnation at this time to help restore and save our planet together. But why stand on the sidelines and do nothing? The most important thing to do is to take what you've learned. If you believe in this information on whatever level you believe, listen to Maitreya's priorities. Without sharing, there could be no justice. Without justice, there could be no peace. Without peace, there could be no future. Now, he has other priorities than just that, but that is his top priority, is creating peace. Don't wait for that. Time's a wasting. We're burning daylight here. Put your little legs in action and work toward that. And you will not only change the world far greater than you could possibly imagine, you'll change yourself better than you could possibly imagine by just serving. And so why wait to either recognize Maitreya on TV or have Maitreya finally declare himself on the day of declaration and then start working? Why not work on it now? You have a wonderful opportunity now to start, and when you do that, you'll start to see that Maitreya and any one of these masters will start to strengthen your hand, as BenjaminCreme's master put it, on whatever you're doing. And you'll be amazed at how effective you'll start to become at that form of service. Now, the other thing is, this information, I'm always putting this information out for your consideration, not to convince anybody and not to sell anybody on anything. So it's up to you to decide for yourself, okay? Now, if, let's say, you believe this on even just 0.5%, like, that guy's kind of crazy that I listen to on YouTube on Search for Signs, but maybe there's a little bit of hope out there. You'll be helping the world far better than you could possibly imagine by just spreading the joy at whatever level and the hope that whatever level that you have, right? So there's so much uncertainty now in the world. There's, and you watch YouTube and you're, and if you're like everybody else, you're trying to find consistency or any kind of comfort in anything because there's so much uncertainty in the economic fields and the political fields and the social fields and now in the healthcare with coronavirus and so forth. And there's not a lot to grab onto anymore. It's because the whole thing is just tumbling in on itself. And Maitreya and the Masters have talked about this for decades, that this is what's going to happen and this is what's happening, right? And so it's crumbling in on itself. And then the same cast of characters that have been around for decades are still trying to put spit and glue to try to get the thing back up. And then it might get up for a little while and it's going to go right back down again. And it's going to be even worse than it was the last time. So, but they're trying to fix the system based on competition and greed, like of the ways of the past of Pisces. Now, the truth of the matter is that Maitreya is now coming out into the world the way that he is, along with his group of masters, to inspire and galvanize us to build a whole new set of structures. But these structures are going to be based on the energies of Aquarius, which is synthesis, brotherhood, and cooperation, peace, those kind of things. Now, it might seem kind of far-fetched now based on what we see, right? But this is what's around the bend. So if you believe in this on any level, if somebody comes to you at your work or your family is talking on the phone or whatever it is, and oh my gosh, the world, we're just gonna, the world's ending, or what, it's going to be anarchy, or all this country's going to attack this country, and you can watch all these videos and they talk about all this stuff, right? The governments are trying to depopulate the whole planet, and that's what the coronavirus is, and that's that's exactly what's going on. They know all about it, and it's not the coronavirus, it's this, and there's all this uncertainty and all this misinformation a lot of times, right? And it's just adding fuel to the fire of people's fears. If by just a little bit you say, you know what, I think even though that guy might be crazy and Maitreya might not exist because I haven't seen him on TV yet, and he keeps talking about you'll see him on TV, you'll see him on TV, you'll see him on TV, but I haven't seen him yet. But yet you have a little bit of hope that maybe we'll get through this. Maybe we will work it out. And and your friend or your coworker or your family member goes, everything's going to go to hell in the handbasket, and you say, you know what, wait, just stop for 1 second. It might be okay. You might be helping them out better than you could possibly imagine. Or the choice is yours. You have in your other hand, you could go right along with their fear and feed that fire and feed that flame, and then you make it worse. What I'm saying? The choice is yours. Law of cause and effect. What you sow, so shall you reap, right? But just something to consider. We have right now the challenge of remaking our world. But we also have help. We have these masters. That's the hope, But you can believe it or not, or on whatever level you believe it or not, But, we'll see. You'll see, as I say. All right. Now, the next 3 comments I do want to kind of group together because they kind of go along the same lines. First one is from Him Solargate. Obama, Maitreya, reveal yourself, O great one. And then the next one comes from my good friend Abdullah in Iraq. Maitreya 4 days ago, 6/19/2020, sent a message on the tongue of the messenger Tatiana Mikushina. You can search for it and read it on Google. And then the last one comes from Flip and Photos. I love that name. Hali Salisi the First. And if I'm mispronouncing that, I do apologize, but that's just the way I read it. It's disappointing how little attention you give the name. Others have information as well. You should be a bit more open-minded. You've seen Maitreya as he will reveal himself. You just didn't recognize him. Well, first of all, this information is not mine. I don't own it. I don't claim ownership of it. I'm just putting this information out for whoever to consider, whoever, it's up to them, right? Now, the one thing is, all 3 of these are kind of related, okay? Because, where do I start? If you take the time to study BenjaminCreme, to study what his masters, the masters articles, listen to Maitreya's priorities and so forth, and even study some of the great painters like Leonardo da Vinci, Rembrandt, and so forth, and Mozart and Bach and Beethoven, the biggies, And it takes time to in this study, but if you study it and you really look at it, and then somebody else comes in with some other information, thinking it's from the masters, or they're getting information from the masters, it's pretty clear to see which is coming from the masters and which isn't. Now, it's not my place to tell you, okay? So I'm just putting this out there for you to consider. But think of it like this. I'll tell you, like this. Imagine if you found a ring in your attic, or and it was from your grandmother, your mother, and then your grandmother, and your grandmother's grandmother, and so forth. And you were like, oh my gosh, I just found this treasure in my attic, right? And you take it to your trusted jeweler who you've known for years, who has been a jeweler for 45 or 50 years, who, knows all about diamonds and everything like this, and you give it to that person. Oh my gosh, you're not going to believe this. Look at this, right? This must be worth a lot. And the first thing out of his mouth is, it's a fugazi. It's a fake, right? And you go, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? It has to be. No, it's a fugazi. It's fake. Well, no, it's got to be worth it. No, it's a fake, right? You can take it and try to sell it, but I'm just telling you right now, every other jeweler is going to tell you the same thing. And then you go to this other jeweler who's done this, who had the same amount of experience. Yeah, it's a fake, right? And then, that same jeweler, you could line up 10 fakes and 1 real one, and somebody like me, who doesn't know anything about diamonds, is going to be picking up the fake every single time. And you line up 5 jewelers who all been jewelers for 50 years or more or whatever, they're going to be able to spot the fake no problem because they've studied it and they know what to look for and everything like this, right? So, like I said, I'm not claiming any ownership of this information or that I know better than somebody else, but just something to consider, okay? When you study the masters and you study information coming from them, you can see a difference between what somebody says is coming from the masters and what is really coming from the masters. And so as much as I love, like for instance, I'll even put myself in this, as much as I love my paintings, right? And I paint a lot and I love the way they look and they, I like the way they look on my wall. There isn't a master that overshadowed me to paint that. Okay, I'm just telling you that right now. So don't want to be, put out a spoiler alert, but there was no master that painted it. Now you look at BenjaminCreme's paintings, right? Very simple, but yet very the way they're designed and so forth. There was a master that actually helped them with that, and you can actually tell the difference. So if somebody told me, oh, looked at my paintings, oh, Maitreya must have worked with, he didn't. I can already tell you that right now based on the quality of my paintings, right? Same thing with music. People tell me all the time that, oh, this person must be inspired by the masters in this. And then you listen to somebody like Beethoven or Bach or Mozart, who was actually inspired by one of the masters. You can tell the difference. Now, me personally, in regards to this information, I know people get frustrated with me from time to time, and Abdullah was one of them, where he was like, why aren't you giving out any new information? Why isn't the masters giving out any new information about this? Well, if you've heard about this for months, yeah, it might sound kind of stale, right? For whatever reason, right? But if you haven't heard about it, it might be totally breaking news to you, right? But the thing of it is, I could very easily say that I'm getting all this information from Maitreya or any of these masters, and it might be wonderfully entertaining for people and make them feel all really good inside, and not one bit of it be true. Now, me personally, I would much rather stand here, look like a total idiot or a fool or, whatever, because I even put my name out there for people. There's no pseudonym here. That's my name, Gary Willing. That's my name, right? And I can look like a total idiot, but yet speak the truth as I see it. And as it comes to me, I tell you, right? And I'm transparent about that, but I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not making the experiences that I've had with Maitreya up, and I'm not making up new experiences in order to look good, But you have to decide on this information yourself. You have to look at it, but the most important thing is to act. We have a world that is dying and structures that are crumbling and a lot of fear and uncertainty out there. You have within your hands right now, based on whatever information you know, right, the opportunity to spread hope and joy in the face of all that, to help to, in your own way, as much as you can, help to bring about peace in the world, which is what we need more than anything. And that's the opportunity that's available to all of us, especially by knowing this information. You have a little bit more than most people know. And so that's the most important thing to take from this information. But it's up for us to take it or not. All right. Now, I want to end on a high note. I always want to end on a high note, right? I'm a musician, and that's the key. Don't ever end on a down note, right? So, all right. I want to read one of Benjamin Creme's master's articles. It's called The Bringers of Treasure. And this also kind of ties into what those last three comments were about and why I don't pay a lot of attention to some of this stuff. If you knew, like for instance, I'll give you an example. Like if you knew, you could see into the future, right? And we can go back in time. Let's say you could see in the future that Amazon stock was going to be worth over $1,000, but right now it's $1. Would you not take every dime that you had available in savings, and even some that you probably wanted to borrow on from other people, and buy as much stock as you could if you knew that dollar was going to go up to $1,000, right? You would, wouldn't you? What happens if somebody like me comes up and says, "No, you should invest in my lemonade stand, man. We're gonna make thousands together." You're like, "Why would I do that when I can put $1 into this company and it's going to be $1,000 in 2 years?" Right? Even if they don't believe it, right? You see what I'm saying? There is so much treasure to this information that if you really look at it and consider it, we have no idea. None of us have no idea the treasure that can come out of knowing this information if we just apply it in service, right? So anyway, and this is kind of goes along the lines of this. So to leave it on a high note, let me read what Benjamin Creme's master says. It will not be long before the masters make known their appearance in the world. With their leader, the Lord Maitreya, they too have awaited the opportunity to emerge and to take their places openly among men. For long they have known that day would come. For long they have prepared themselves for their arduous task. Notwithstanding the completeness of their evolution and understanding, it is no easy duty that they are called upon to perform. Not for nothing have they trained themselves to work on the inner and outer planes, for that simultaneous action is crucial to the externalization of their service. We know that our appearance will change the lot of men. We know that our experience and wisdom will serve men well. We know and comprehend the enormity of the problems which await solution. We are not daunted, but approach the new day with joy. Nevertheless, we recognize the necessity of men's cooperation and trust. We know we cannot, under law, act alone. A new and closer relationship between men and us will become the order of the day, and thus shall we forge a ladder of ascent by which means many become ready in due course will enter our ranks. Thus shall it be. Not everyone who knows of our existence expects our imminent appearance. Caution and doubt prevail in the hearts of the learned and blind them to the truth. Soon, however, like all, that the mentors are among men, that the elder brothers walk once more on the earth. Together, we shall create the new forms and institutions to enable a better expression of that divinity which rests potential in all men. Together, we shall bring order from the present chaos and control the destruction which inspires the present anguish. Together, too, we shall enter deeply into the meaning of life, unfolding new capacities and insights. A new science inspired by us will adorn the new civilization and lend men the appearance of gods. Thus shall men enter into their birthright and understand the ways of God. When you see us, remember that we once were men like you. Remember that we are a mirror reflecting your future and can show you the way to that future. We come to teach and to inspire and to lead men out of darkness into light. We have seen a measure of that light and know well its radiance. We offer to share with you humanity, our treasure. Remember to take action and help SOP save our planet. Thanks for listening, and we look forward to talking to you again in future videos.